Alrighty, how's it going, y'all? So I've got another really good play that I want to show you guys. This time we're going to be taking a look at the grand finals of VCL Americas 2025. Team Envy versus Team TSM over on Lotus. So the thing I want to highlight quite a few things from this play. So this might be a little bit longer of a video, but there's a lot of really important fundamentals that I think is super crucial. That a lot of people grasp. And I've done videos similar on this idea before, but this one is like a great example of it flushed out. It's just little things that I've mentioned on my live stream. By the way, if you haven't gotten a chance to check out my live stream, make sure you go check it out. Link to that is out in the description. But these are fundamentals that I talk about a lot on the live stream. It's fundamentals that I'll discuss in other videos when we're doing breakdowns like this. So let's just jump into it. So we're going to be taking a look at TSM's attack half. So what's going to happen to set this round up for the setup? Envy is going to get aggressive on a rubble and establish some early control. Now what we're going to see is instead of crumbling right away and running away like a lot of teams do, TSM is actually going to stay towards a lobby and is going to contest this and come back to actually fight for the rubble control. And then they're going to pivot away. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. So let's watch this play out. All right, so the utility's coming in. We're going to see some spams coming out from TSM. And it's not a huge utility investment from... Sorry, I'm like adjusting the audio. We'll leave it muted because I'm talking. But it's not a huge utility investment from Envy, right? They use a smoke. They use the ISO, like vulnerable / silence. It's a relatively light utility investment. But they've taken the control. So in response... TSM is going to use Vora's Sova drone to get some information, figure out what the actual setup looks like. The drone comes out, spots Poppin. Poppin's going to run away into Hobbit. Off of this, they know Poppin is going to run because Vora has his Sova ult. He's popping this ult as we speak. At the same time, we're going to see 7 GMD, or Gimond, I think I'm pronouncing that right, and Timotino are going to just pounce on Ion. Check it out. So he's going to get hit. Ion is actually going to get hit with an Omen Blind, a Sage Slow, so he cannot escape, and then Timotino is going to run at him with a Blast Pack to get in his face and close the gap. The Blind, slowed, can't escape, has to fight. Easiest kill of Razor's life. And now they've established that control. Now keep an eye on Gimond, GMD. On the TSM Sova, or excuse me, Omen. Look at his pacing. So he popped an ult to get into Tree Room, and he's now slotted himself in Tree. And this is already like, this portion of the play could be its own video in itself. But it's the next steps they take. So now, GMD has popped his Omen ult and has gotten into Tree. The big thing is he wants to be slotted without opening the door to let TSM or let Envy know that TSM have gone and slotted somebody. And a slot is essentially when you leave a player in a lurking position, or you leave a player in a position to work on their own. Usually when you slot somebody, it's like a pack of anywhere from 3 to 4 players are going as a group, taking a proportion of map control, and then leaving one player in that area, and the rest of the team leaves to go do something else. So that's what this slot is. So they've slotted Gimond in Tree. Sova ult's still going on. Envy is already kind of like, okay, they're investing a lot of utility. There's a lot going on here. Let's rotate. So this first rotate is kind of a bit of an overextension and is going to prompt the second rotate we're about to see. The utility comes in, TSM, Gimond is slotted. TSM are like, okay, we're good. We've probably pulled rotations out. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. And Omen's just going to chill. He's just going to work solo. He's going to find information on the site, see if he can find a pick, but he's working slowly. At the same token, we're seeing Envy's clearing things out. Envy is now identified. They've rotated. They're not doing anything. They've gone quiet. They've invested a lot of utility. We see a Fade Dog come in. Envy's already like, okay, they just faked. Let's run back now. And then this is also the second thing I wanted to highlight, or I guess third thing I wanted to highlight. How our TSM sells this fake. So I see a lot of times in ranked games and like lower level premier teams, when they run a fake, they don't commit enough utility to sell the fake properly. When you run a fake, you need to commit more than just one smoke or one flash. You actually need to commit some sort of like physical presence that there are bodies heading into the site. And that is exactly what TSM does really well here. So we're going to see a couple pieces of utility invested here. We are going to see two Sova shock darts. We are going to see a Sage Wall, and I believe we're also going to see a Raze Nade to clear out the utility, and we're going to see a Raze Blast Pack. And I'm going to actually quiet down here and play the audio so you can hear all of this. So it was actually even more utility, I thought. There was also a Recon Dart and the Razor Vines. Yeah, from Alvin Boy. So there's a boatload of utility coming in, and the Blast Pack plus Raze sailing through the air tells Eggster, hey, I think they're hitting B. I think they're hitting B. Or, excuse me, C. I think they're hitting C. There's a lot of investment. There's somebody in the site. So it's going to prompt the rotations, and look at the positioning on the map. 4 players from Envy have rotated, and 3 players from Envy have rotated, and a 4th is on his way. So this is already like a big rotation and big investment. Now, the only reason, and we'll look at the map again, you're going to see TSM invested that utility and is now running away. Now, the only reason they feel comfortable to do so is because GMD is in A site, is walking through, hasn't heard anything, likely heard Kane Zero run away, is communicating to his team, hey, I have the site. It's empty. You're going to see he's going to actually take some advanced pressure here, or advanced, he's going to take some advanced space and get into the face of a rotator. I think Kane Zero rotates through here, and GMD completely catches him completely unaware. So we're seeing the rotation come in, and Envy realize, I think we just got our ankles broken. And they're now having to rotate back again, completely out of position. GMD's going to pick up this kill into Kane Zera. And this round is pretty much over. Now, granted, it took a lot of time for this to happen. So your spacing or your pacing doing this kind of play needs to be like very on the money. You cannot like really like fumble around with utility or back and forth. This needs to be like, hey, this is we're doing this, and like we need to all follow suit because they got this plant down with 20 seconds. And just off of that, the TSM took some really advanced map space to deny rotations, completely shut them down when they're coming back to actually fight for the site for the final time. And there's absolutely nothing that Envy really could have done. And that's really important when it comes to playing competitive Valorant. This is something that's harder to execute in ranked games, but it's something that you can most definitely do in a scrim / league match / official match capacity. And that's how to sell a fake, how to slot players, how to like use utility wisely and use your utility set to like know when to fight for space. This whole play would not have worked had they had not cleared out Ion early. Had Ion maintained rubble control, this whole play would not have worked. The Omen ult out of GMD wouldn't have been able to do anything. The fake at C likely would have been like very readable. Actually, they probably wouldn't been able to fake to C. They probably would have had to commit. Or if they run back, they run the risk of fighting an aggressive Ion backed by Kane Zera or something, or Poppin. So there's a lot of really good things here. That's also like why it's very important to play around with comps and not be what I consider a meta slave, where you see what gets played in VCT or you see what like the top teams are doing and you just mimic that. Sage is something that is not super popular, but it is very impactful, has a lot of value. The Sage Wall towards C, the slow orb that sets them up to get a kill. So be very willing to like experiment with utility and try different comps and like kind of run into the realm of like the unknown and experiment with things. And this is why I like breaking down VCL games, because VCL is way more experimental. They're way more willing to try different things because everybody knows how to play at what the pros are doing. These guys just sit around and watch VOD all day. So they're forced to adapt and evolve. And that's why I really love breaking down VCL stuff. Alrighty, y'all. So before this video gets any longer, that is my breakdown. I hope you guys found it somewhat helpful. Make sure to check out the Twitch stream down below. I film a lot of these live. This one isn't, but I film a lot of these live over on my Twitch stream. If you're looking to get some coaching or want some additional like guides or advice, check out my Metafy as well. That is also going to be down in the description. My Metafy has free guides. You can book a coaching session with me. If you subscribe over on my Twitch page, you actually get a discount on all coaching sessions. I believe it's like $10 discount. And then if you're first time getting a coaching session, if you use the promo code FIRST, you actually get 50% off. So your first coaching session winds up becoming like anywhere $5 to $10. So it's a really great value if you're looking to improve in Valorant, whether you're a ranked player wanting to grind up to that next desired rank, or you're a competitive player wanting to take that next step on the next like rung on the competitive ladder. I feel it's great value. I really think it's in your best interest to give it a try. Alrighty, y'all. At the risk of yapping anymore, I'm going to take off. Hope you guys found this helpful, and I'll see you around.